Shalom Aleichem. Welcome to Breslev Research Institute web seminar Parshat Nitzavim, which is the last Shabbos of the year. Last Shabbos of the year, which means we still have a chance. Which means that after Nitzavim, the night after Nitzavim, Slichus begins, and we start asking Hashem for teshuvah. A lot of that is hinted to in the Parsha, Nitzavim. Shafta ad Hashem Elikecha, you should return to Hashem. And V'shafta, Shafta is the same letters as Shabbos, because Shabbos is the return to Hashem. Shabbos is faith. You know what faith is? Faith is that, I work for a living, or whatever it is I do for a living. Shabbos, I'm not allowed to work for a living. I'm supposed to rest. No work. If I don't work, how do I eat? How do I get my money? Right? And this is what we have to understand, that it's not up to us. It's up to Hashem. Everything is up to Hashem except what we do as far as Hashem is concerned. So, the main thing for us to know as we're approaching Rosh Hashanah, as we're approaching Yom Kippur, is that the teshuvah depends on us. The teshuvah is not so much like Shabbos, it's more like what would I do on Shabbos? How would I work it out on Shabbos? In other words, if I feel Shabbos, I can feel teshuvah. If I don't feel Shabbos, I won't feel teshuvah. And that's even during the week. In other words, how much am I willing to rely on Hashem? Shabbos, you don't work. And yet, Shabbos, we have sumptuous foods, better than what we have during the week. We dress nicer. We act better on Shabbos. How much of that am I going to take over to my spiritual living? That's what Nitzavim is telling us. V'shafta ad Hashem Elikecha. Let's go back to the beginning of the Parsha. Look what the Pasuk says. Atem Nitzavim hayom kulchem lifnei Hashem Elikechem. You are all now standing before Hashem. Roshechem, count, right? Roshechem, Shivtechem, Kol Ish Yisrael, Tabchem, Neshechem, V'gecho Asher B'sharecha, Choyte V'etzecha, Ad Sho'ev Mem. There are 10 categories listed there in the Torah. Nitzavim Asher Elikechem, Roshechem, Shivtechem, Ziknechem. Roshechem, your leaders. Shivtechem, your tribes. Ziknechem, your elders. Shoitrechem, your policemen. Kol Ish Yisrael, every single person. Tabchem, your children. Neshechem, your wives. V'gecho Asher B'sharecha, the convert who came into you. Michoite veitzecha, from the one who cuts your wood, he does your menial labor. Ad shoyev meimecha, the one who draws your water from your wells and brings it to your home. 10 categories. Well, the Tikkun Zoya lists these 10 categories to tell us that everyone represents and parallels a sphera, an energy of Hashem. Each one, because all of us are very different. All of us are very, very different people. And yet, even though we're different people, we're really all part of the same structure. And we all have our important goal, our important contribution to make in order so that it comes out complete. There are 10 spheres, 10 is a minion, 10 10 means a completion. And it can't be complete without a single Jew. If there's a single Jew missing, it's not complete. So all of us. And that's when the Torah goes in to tell us, you're all here. And the Torah tells us that you got to stand. Stand up before your Nitzavim. You're standing before Hashem. Rashi explains a beautiful thing. The Jews came to Moshe last week in Kisovo. They heard all the 98 curses that will befall them if they don't serve Hashem. So they listened and they said, Moshe, how do you expect us to last with all these people, with all these curses? How could we stand? And Moshe Rabbeinu answered them, Atem Nitzavim. You are standing before Hashem. Why is that? It's the curses that make you stand before Hashem. It is the curses that stand you before Hashem. What does that mean? It says, a person, for instance, the Gemara says, a person never really understands the Torah until he makes a mistake in it. It's the mistake, it's the errors, it's the difficulties, it's the challenges that forge us into being a powerful person, right? We have something that plays against us, and we have something that we fight for. That's what strengthens us in order to complete the mission that I have to complete in my life. Atem Nitzavim Hayom Kulchem, you were all standing. So about 3-4 verses later, Rashi brings this Gemara that tells us the kololos, the curses, the challenges that we have are what forge us into a most powerful nation. Somebody asked me once, he said, how can you last without an army? How come the religious don't go to the army? Good question. I mean, King David had an army. Moshe Rabbeinu himself had an army. How did they vanquish Sichon and Og? How did they vanquish the Midianites? They had it. But I told them, listen, the army is important, but Torah is much more important. And I'll prove it to you. You take a look at the Jewish nation. We're here today. Are we here today? Yes. Okay. We're here today. The Jews have been in exile for 2,000 years. They've been kicked around, murdered, raped, plundered, right? You name it, it's been done to the Jewish nation, right? 2,000 years. Because the Romans, it's not 2,000 years since the destruction of the temple, but the Romans already conquered the land 100 and something years before the destruction of the temple. So it's like 2,000 years we're in exile. Everything that was done to us was meant to destroy us. Are we still here? Yes. Did we have an army the last 2,000 years? No. So we were murdered and plundered and raped and so on. But we're still here. So it's not the army that keeps the Jewish nation alive. It's the Torah that has kept the Jewish nation going since the exile started. Actually, before that too, since Moshe brought it down to us at Sinai. But for the moment, just to understand, put things in perspective, the Torah has kept the Jewish nation. Furthermore, anyone who left the nation, you had the apostates of the Middle Ages. Anyone who left the fold, they're lost. They're no longer Jews. You won't find them. Go back 200 years when the Enlightenment, Moses Mendelssohn, Karl Marx and Engels, they were all products of the Enlightenment. Where are they today? Right? It's not the army that keeps the Jews together. It's the Torah that keeps the Jews together. Right? An army? Yeah, I'm sure today's day and age you can say we need an army. Or leave that for the philosophical or governmental or political arguments we're going to have later. But the Torah is telling us the challenges of life are there. You want to overcome the challenges? Get involved in Torah. Immerse yourself in Torah teachings, and Torah learning. Then you'll understand why you have to keep Shabbos. Then you'll understand why you have to do teshuvah. Then you'll understand how you can do teshuvah, despite everything you may have done wrong. And many of us have a history. We did things, we hurt people, we said the wrong thing. Maybe we ate the wrong thing. There's a lot of things we have to do teshuvah on. But if we study Torah, understand that we can overcome the challenges of life. May Hashem help us that as we approach Rosh Hashanah, we're able to realize and recognize our strengths and our weaknesses, and to use our strength to overcome the weaknesses in order that we all merit to return to Hashem. Amen.